Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the May 2025 Fitchburg Public Library Board meeting. Call to order at 5:31. Item number 2, public agenda items, or public appearances, sorry. There are none.
Nope.
Item 3, approval of minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the April 2025 draft minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John. Take a second to look these over. I didn't have any notes or clarifications. Did anybody else? Okay, looks like we are in agreement. So all in favor of approving the April 2025 draft minutes, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, can I get a motion to approve the February 2025 financial register and overview?
So moved.
Thank you, Logan.
All right, so we'll go over this quickly. I don't have a lot to share. Looking at the register, a couple of things in account 325. We've got a couple of charges there for airfare and annual conference registration. So this is for taking care of our adult services manager. She is going to the American Library Association conference in Washington, D.C., I think it is this time.
Cool.
What's great about this is that she knows the incoming president of ALA and will be staying in her suite with her. So we won't be seeing a hotel bill.
All right.
Yay.
Awesome.
Efficiency.
Yes, exactly. So that's happening in June. But we pay ahead. I also thought it was kind of funny because it looks like we paid negative 13 cents for a car wash. That's because we got it the month before and we get a discount with the city. We get like a rebate because we use a WEX card. So that is actually accurate. It's just catching up with the last month. The utility bill is a sad state of affairs, so almost $11,000. This is, I think, the highest one we've ever seen, both in dollar amount and in kilowatt hour usage. I've been watching it like a hawk since this came in, and it has come down significantly in the last couple of months. Kevin made some adjustments to overnight temperatures, so hopefully that will help. It will be hard to know until it gets cold again. So we are 100% going to be overspent in this account again this year. We were last year. We'll figure out how to deal with it when we know kind of what the damage is closer to the end of the year. We had taken this account down a bit this year because we thought with the new chiller and the solar working again that it would go down. And it has not. So that is, it is both because of rate increases but also kilowatt hours. So we're watching it. We'll do the best we can. We'll figure it out at the end of the year. Last year I think we moved money from a contract that we didn't end up starting last year. And we won't have that money this year, but I think it looks like interest is still going pretty well, so hopefully we can cover it somewhere in here. So we're watching that. I don't think, the fuel cost is also negative 30 cents.
Yes.
And again, that's just catching up from last month, so, yeah. And this, I believe, is going to be the last copier lease that that comes in at $1,900, I believe it will be,
$1,092
Yeah.
probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to go way down. Yeah, that's good. Looking forward to that. Oh, and then account 5515-510. Hello, come in. Everybody, this is Ken. He's our new board member.
Again.
You're fine. We are going over the finance register and overview. So that's a Tony box. That is a cute little device that is sort of like an audio book for kids. So it comes, you get a box and then you have a little character that you put on top of it, and it, like the character is Elmo, and then it starts telling you Elmo stories, and you can like smack it on the side and it'll fast forward or rewind, and they're super fun. The Friends did their end of giving campaign at the end of last year to fund this. It's like an audio collection for the youth. So we have 4 of the boxes with characters, and then 4 sets of just characters. So if you already have a Tony box at home, you can just take home characters, or you can get the whole thing together. So that is, I think this is the first purchase we made. You'll see a lot more coming into that account as we go. They're also doing playaways, which is a little digital audio player that you just plug in headphones to, and it's got a fast forward and fairly simple use. We had them for adults and nobody really wanted them, but they have gotten very popular for kids because you can have them plugged in the car listening to their own thing without a device. Like you don't have to, the whole family in the car doesn't have to listen to the kid's book, and they don't need a device to run it. So those, I think, almost half of them have checked out already, and we just put them out recently. So yeah, so that is interesting. I don't think I have anything in the overview that jumped out at me, but I'm happy to answer questions if anything jumped out at anybody else.
So going back to the utility electric bill, you said that you think that it's getting back to normal now that the weather's more normal? Or?
Yeah, the last 2 bills have not been
Okay.
worrisome. I mean, I was really, when we got this one, really
Yeah.
like, what is, like something bad is happening. Like this is not what we expected. And it's gone down to more normal. I mean, I've been tracking this since we opened. So.
But yeah, even when it was high, the chiller seemed like it was fine. I mean, I don't remember us having problems.
No.
Then yeah.
No. But I do think we were running it,
February was,
I don't think 24/7, but I think we were running it higher at night because we had a couple of days that it had a hard time catching up in the morning. And I don't know exactly why that was.
Yeah. 'Cause February wasn't that cold.
No. And this bill came in February, so it would have been for January. So there were some
Sure.
cold days in January.
January was cold.
Yeah, and I went back to like Weather Underground, was looking at like what the highs and lows were to see. And there were a couple of times it were really cold, but it wasn't like a polar vortex. And we used fewer kilowatt hours during the polar vortex than we did during this January, which doesn't make any sense to me. So we'll keep an eye on it.
This is out of curiosity. What's the healthy temperature for books? Like,
I would say a nice 70 degrees without very much humidity. Humidity is really the problem with books. They get wavy if they get too damp, which we've had before, and they do recover. But yeah. Yeah, and I would say most of the areas in the library. So we have really good control over different areas because there are VAVs in the ceiling instead of heat pumps. So we've got really good control. Like my office is set on meat locker, Kevin says, but each office can kind of have its own temperature. So we've got it pretty dialed in to be somewhere between 68 and 72, depending. So nothing like drastic that I think would cause it to do anything. I'll also be interested to see what happens with the air conditioning this summer because it's really our first.
Yeah.
Well, no, we had this up and running last summer, so yeah, it's something to watch. Never thought facilities management would be my job. Not what they teach in library school, as many of you know.
So just to kind of make sure I've got this
Yeah.
in my head here,
Yeah.
would it be correct to say then that that part of the reason the bill was up, or maybe all of it, what have you, is that the heat was up extra high because of the chiller?
Yes, so the chiller is a whole story. We had it replaced, right,
Yeah.
before it should have been end of life. So it was replaced last year, right?
Was last
Okay.
year, yeah.
I'm remembering the flood in the corner is what, I'm having flashbacks.
Talking about the
to.
humidity,
We had a big leak in this room when they turned on the floor heating again. Yeah, so Yeah, it's kind of a mystery.
All right.
So all I can say is we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll figure it out.
But things
at the
seem
end
to
of
be
the
more
year.
normal, which is, I guess.
It
trending in
feels
the
like
right
it
direction.
is, but I feel like I don't want to get my hopes up.
Right.
One other question, actually, I guess I have two quick ones
Yeah.
here. Just for folks who are maybe watching at home, if you look at the overview for salaries from January to February, it looks like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, we spent way more, just for folks who may be
Yep.
watching at home or
So
on FACTv.
February is a fairly normal month, 2 pay periods. You'll see next month in March, we'll have a 3 pay period month, so it's much larger. January is always a weird one because the pay period gets cut between years. So part of it was 2024, part of it was 2025. So we do a reversal accrual, it's called. So we take a chunk that was really 2024 and put it back into December of last year. So that's why it's a little bit lower.
I'm
Thank
glad
you.
that question got asked because I've asked it every year. And I finally this year I was looking, I was like, oh, I remember why that's happening.
Yeah.
I'll play the new guy card for sure.
It's
right.
also kind of related to that. If you look at utilities, we don't pay utilities in January, but we pay them twice in December. So we end up with 12 bills by the end of the year. That all works out, but it's always a little bit weird to see, like, did we not have any power bill? And it just is the way the year shakes out. Yeah, good question.
Yeah, and then for the Tony box, did you say that's something that people can check out?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really fun. I took one over to the Friends luncheon and was smacking it around. That was kind of fun. It is also funny because it comes in a box. If you get the box and the pieces, it comes in a box. And I had one of the extra kits and like set it on top of the box. And all of a sudden, like Elma was talking to me when I didn't mean for it. Elma would be talking to me. It was fun. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay, if no other questions, may I have, we already have the motion. All in favor of approving the February 2025 financial register and overview, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. 5, unfinished business. There is none. 6, new business. May I have a motion to approve the election of new officers?
So someone should present the slate first.
Okay.
I'm going to guess that's going to be you, Patrick.
Yep, let me go grab it. I know I have it off the top of my head, but I'll just read it off. So from the board nomination committee, the 3 members that we would like to present for the different positions are myself, Patrick, as president, Ken as vice president, and Mariah as treasurer.
Excellent.
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Deng. Any discussion around this?
Anybody want to arm wrestle over anything? All right, we're good.
Cool. Okay, all right. If no discussion, all in favor of approving the officers in the named positions, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Item number 7, President's Report. First, I'd like to welcome Ken. Glad to have you here. Ken was previously president of the Friends of the Fitchburg Library Board, so glad to have that cross-pollination there, and excited to see what kind of ideas you bring here with all of that previous experience. And then I'd like to also say thank you to both Ken and Mariah, new members, for stepping up to positions right away. So good to see that proactiveness.
Yeah.
And otherwise, that is it for my report for this month. Item number 8, Library Director's Report. Pass it to
All
Wendy.
right, so statistics. I don't see a ton of change. It is really nice to be watching the monthly visits. That is with the new door counters that we got late last year. So that is kind of a new stat for us this year. It's kind of nice to watch. We had a kind of a rough count twice a year last for the history of the library. So it's nice to have actual numbers, and they're pretty steady there. So happy to see that. I would also point out that we had more adult programs. We've been having some really awesome adult programs. They're really stepping it up. We had, I'm not going to remember his name. He was the UW band leader. That was a big program. Everybody loved it.
Mike Liccarone?
Thank you. Yes. That was really good. We also, I think just last week, had a metallurgy, so like metal arts group came in. and they made jewelry, so they were crafting things in here, and then they went out to the patio and with the blowtorches and like did stuff. It's kind of awesome. So, yeah, and there's some really good ones coming. We've got one on the basics of home plumbing. I'm 100% going to next week. There's just some really good stuff going on. So keep your eyes open and join us. We'll also point out that we had some more outreach programs with pretty good attendance. Outreach really ramps up in the summers when we see our big numbers, but we had a resource fair that we had here, and she's had a couple of different events. So that's always good to see in the middle of the year. All right, moving on to facilities. So the tech center that we almost can't call the tech center anymore. Computers have moved out. We have painted in the last about week. Some of the furniture is starting to come in. We are not putting furniture in there yet because we've got those big giant tables to move out. Nobody from the city wanted them. Nobody from other libraries wanted them. So now we're putting them on surplus. So that may take a couple of weeks to get those moved out. The wall project, so the biggest part of this really is the demo of the wall. So it's glass, mostly glass. We're just opening up the case to opening as wide as we can without messing with anything structural. So we've got one quote for that. They came in at what I thought was a favorable, less than I expected. We have a second quote that we're hoping to get in. If we don't, it's not enough to require bidding. So if we can't get another quote, we may just go ahead with that one to get things going. I'm hopeful that this project will be done by the end of summer. I kind of hate to say that out loud because I feel like I'm ensuring now that it's going to go into the fall. It may be if the wall demo can't happen as soon as we want it to, that we open up that room for use again, and then shut it down when we have to do the demo. We're having shelving installed on the one wall on Friday, so the oversized collection will go in there. So we've got dates for furniture to come. I think the last pieces are the pods that are going to be the most awesome part of this. And they are shipping in mid-July. So definitely it's going to be into August or September before we're done. But making a lot of good progress, so happy to see that. This is also facilities, but sort of future facilities. So the 2026 CIP project is the Children's Library update. And I think I reported last week that the Friends have agreed to give us $10,000 this year to work on the design process. I reached out to Public Works Director. I was in a meeting with them anyway, and the Finance Director to talk about how to do that. So typically if you have a construction project, or most of what the city does, you do a design process and then you bid it out for construction. But this is an artistic thing, so you have the same company is doing the design and the installation. So we're going to have to do an RFP for this year instead of next year. So we will I'm about to head out on vacation. When I get back, we'll start working on that. I've never done an RFP like this before, so we'll have to talk to somebody at the city about the process. They've got, I think, software that you have to use that puts it out for different companies to see and bid on. So we will get started on that this year instead of next year. All right, personnel. We have an LA2 Youth Services vacancy coming up. We did interviews the last 2 days. They went very well. So we should have someone on board before summer starts for that. I'm very happy about that.
What is the vacancy? I'm sorry.
Library Assistant 2 in Youth Services. So it's a half-time position. We also have just posted for shelver. We have 2 shelver positions open currently. One from a promotion and one from somebody whose hours changed at her other job. So we're posting that. I think it's up currently, and we'll post that for 3 weeks, I think, and then do interviews. Strategic planning. We have a survey almost ready to go. We did a little test run with it with the staff on the Staff in Service Day, just to see if we liked, it's Google Forms, so we just want to make sure that we liked the way the data was coming out on the back end of it. We are hoping to launch that for the first 2 weeks of summer reading. It's typically a very busy time at the library, so we'll have a lot of traffic. We'll be stuffing holds with bookmarks with a QR code to get to it. We'll have print copies, English and Spanish, available here, City Hall, Senior Center, looking at different ways to email out. We've got email lists of our own. I think Minda's got some ideas about where to take them that she does outreach activities. So it is fairly short. We found in the past that the longer they are, the fewer people respond to it. So it's fairly short, looking for what people's habits are now, what they would like from the library. to kind of move forward. So you will all get that link when it is ready, and I ask that you take it as well. Only other thing I have is that I will be out of the office starting this Friday through, I'll be back on the 5th of June. So a little bit longer vacation. Managers here are totally fine taking care of things in my absence. So I'm not worried. I don't think anything, I don't think you'll even know that I'm gone, but just wanted you to know. That's my whole report.
For this survey, I feel like this is the first time I've heard of this. Do we do this every year?
We do it every strategic plan. So this
Okay,
is the third
okay.
one that we've done.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you said you're changing it up. So I was going to ask if, like, are we going to be able to compare and contrast them? Like, that, because that might be interesting, but maybe if they're
I think it's been too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did the last
Right.
one in 20,
pre-COVID.
yeah,
Yeah.
2018 probably.
Yeah, different world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
And on the data analytic end of the survey, is that you doing that in-house?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not like this company that they're
No.
working with the,
No, we did use, so the first strategic plan we did in 2012, we did all of our own work. We hired the Wisconsin Library Service to do it in 2018. And to be honest, it was like $12,000, and it didn't feel to me like it was something that we couldn't do. So, yeah, so we'll do that in-house.
I believe in y'all. Yeah.
What is your, I'm going to say in, but what's your response rate on that?
That's a really good question. I'm trying to think what it was last time.
Ooh, gosh, yeah. What was it last
I would have to look that up. I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, if it's 10,000, that's one thing. If
Yeah,
it's
no.
50, it's a
Yeah,
different.
so the population is 36,000. I mean, I think we'll be lucky to get,
Couple hundred.
I would hope for maybe 1,000.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll see.
Still pretty good, plus or minus 4 to 5%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the downside of this is that it's almost always library users that we can get to get to spend the time to do a library survey. But we will do our best to get participation from the rest of the community as well.
Is that
People's time is hard to.
mean putting stuff like the Fitchburg Star, or I think
We've talked about that. I don't know, because that's just monthly now that we'll have time
sure.
to do that.
What dates will this be available?
So
You said during summer reading.
tentatively, we're not locked in yet, but June 16th through whatever 2 weeks is. So that's starting on a Monday. June 16th, so I would say through the 29th.
Okay. And yeah, to Patrick's point, the Star, I believe their print deadline is the second Friday of every month.
Okay.
So we, like, theoretically, that, that could get included in there if there's a link that people could go to ahead of time, or just hey, watch the library's website.
Right. Yeah.
And, we want to hear from you.
Sure.
So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
and is it acceptable for us to push that out through our social media, or, the city, the council, themselves, because they have all these
Absolutely.
platforms to help push that
Yep.
out.
Part of your job is to advocate for the library, and I
Yeah,
think
so-
getting people's feedback is a way to do that. So,
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yes, I would appreciate the help.
Do you have any incentives? Like, could you say,
Free book?
yes? Well, you can enter and
I don't know how I feel about that one, but-
Flag bag chance or something like that. Or like a
Possibly.
canvas
I'll,
thing.
I'll float that idea to the,
Some surveys, like, you'll go through it, and then at the end, it'll say, do you want to enter for
yeah,
a
right,
drawing?
for a
Yeah.
$10 gift card
It
or
just might,
something.
yeah, it just
it
might be an
Yeah.
incentive.
Yeah.
Free book for up to 2 or up to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% of respondents will have access to a world of knowledge.
Yeah. And I make all kinds of stuff that can be giveaway,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
that can be used for that purpose.
Yeah.
That you can have like display in the library, and people see them.
We will think that over.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, that's all.
Okay. Let me get back to
That survey goes out June 16th, or that's the plan?
That's the plan.
Making a note in
Yeah.
my head as far as who I want to make sure
Yeah.
draw their attention to it.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, if nothing else, item number 9, announcements. The next library board meeting will be Wednesday, June 18th, 2025 at 5:30 in the large meeting room at the library. I like that we have the specific room called out now. And item number 10, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John.
It's not usually a hard one to get.
Yeah, right. All right, all in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. All right, thank you, everyone.